Imagine the people you have saddled with the responsibility of protecting your interest and possibly your future as far as public trust is concerned. I'm not talking about elected officials, I'm talking about civil servants, public officers, right? Sadly, rather than do their jobs, they're protecting their personal interest. Well, on this edition of Black or White, we are going to beam our spotlight on, yes, we always point fingers at the leaders at the top, but these leaders seem to have accomplices. So we will be looking at the leaders, their excessive nature or excessiveness, as the case may be, and most importantly, their accomplices or accessories, as the case may be. Well, as usual, I've got a full house. It's the testosterone is high because it's an all men's arrangement on this edition of the show. I've got on my immediate left, Kule. It's great to have you in the house.
Good to be here.
And of course, Mr. Charles, this color you're wearing. And today it seems we come in peace. Wale, it's great to have you in the house.
Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen. Today's edition of the show, we are basically looking at how do we checkmate our leaders, their excessiveness, and as I said, as we start this conversation, they seem to have accomplices in carrying out their will I use the word shenanigans or corrupt nature as they tend to exhibit, but most importantly, how do we start by creating a template that helps our leaders recognize that they're first here to serve, and then also be able to get their accomplices who seem to be public servants and civil servants to also understand that they're supposed to protect public trust, public interest. Wally, you see from your look, you seem to have the picture going on in your mind. Can you share with us?
The conversation is going to be very different from what I think a lot of people expect. When we understand definitions and look at things contextually, we have to get to the root first like this. Who is a civil servant? A civil servant is a government employee that is not military or police.
Okay.
That's a civil servant. So
a government employee.
A government employee. They are public servants, they are civil servants, they are political appointees, they are people that come and go that just work in government. But the real people that they call government itself is called civil servants.
I'm happy you emphasize the word government, because growing up in Nigeria, I don't know if that's the case. The question always arises: who is government?
Government is civil servant. That's why when they tell you government is a continuum, it means whoever you elect can leave. But there's a system in place with people that keeps running the affairs of the state. So a governor is just that person. The people that run the administration of that government are all civil servants. Now, these civil servants are in no way distant from us. They are part of us. They are our neighbors. We see them every day. They are a true reflection of the population of Nigeria. Total reflection. Anything you want to think of about yourself, look at the Nigerian civil service. That's part of who you are. And I'm telling you this because...
Despite the fact that I am not
No, you don't have to be a civil servant. You're just part of that representation. You see, the fact is this. There's a system of administration in civil service called bureaucracy. It's the best in the world. There's no system of administration that beats bureaucracy. None has ever beat it. But it's not working in our own system.
Why?
Because of the people that we are. So if we want to look at this conversation and start looking at why has it been that the leaders that we've trusted are having accomplices, the whole answer just becomes, why are we helping our leaders run a bad government? That was my introduction.
Kule, I don't know if you agree with Wale's position, because I mean, one begins to wonder, for the average Nigerian, as far as the average Nigerian is concerned, if any problem that we are faced with today is the minister, is the president, is the governor, but nobody really points fingers at civil servants.
To a very large extent, I kind of share his opinion. The last thing he mentioned was bureaucracy. And I tell you what bureaucracy is a system that helps to, institutionalize the decay of a nation. In Nigeria as it is. Unfortunately, that's the situation we are in. When you have a system that's always like ensuring that there's always one impediment here or there, people have institutionalized that situation to perpetuate their stay in the system.
So you're buttressing
is a big problem.
You're buttressing the
It's one
comment.
of the reasons why the country is going down.
You're buttressing the comment attributed to the current chairman of the EFCC, where he said he gave an example of a ministry where over 30-something billion went missing, and only about 3-point-something billion was traced to the minister, who is the man in charge or woman in charge of that ministry, while the other about 33-point-something billion was still within civil servants.
Because a lot of people prioritize servitude to service. They service their own personal interest instead of servicing the people, which they were employed to, serve in the first place. So when you have a system like that, whereby there's no accountability, there's no transparency, you can have such issues.
You see, Mr. Kunle, sorry, let me even come in. There's something I think we're missing when we talk about these things. When EFCC comes out and talks about, or when we look at corruption, embezzlement is just one of it. That's one of it. There are a lot of ways to be corrupt. The system is corrupt. The system is not functioning, not on the basis of money. AFCC chairman came out to come and tell us that something billion was stolen from the particular ministry, 3-point-something was led to the minister. The minister has never been told. We've not heard the minister was arrested. We've not heard that the civil servants have been questioned and they put out there that they stole the public funds. All those things that they're saying, money will still flow through that place. My take is this: how do people get employed into civil service? Nepotism, cronyism are part of the things that happen. But the fact is this: if your uncle is the DG of a particular, let me tell you, the director in one particular place and it doesn't help you, they will hold family meeting and he was director for 10 years.
Isn't that a fallout of our quota system?
That is not
federal character?
There's no quota. It is cultural. I'm telling you one truth. I know somebody. He works in road safety, and one day saw his elder brother's wife not wearing seatbelt, not having fire extinguisher. I called her and like, this thing you've done is wrong. So I have to book you in because that's the right thing government said you should do. The family meeting that they held, him and his wife didn't talk for like 9 months. The father, how will you arrest my wife when your wife is doing the wrong thing? So it comes back to our culture. We don't expect some things to be right. We don't expect to have a director in my church. I want to contribute 100,000, and it's expecting me to be the one to contribute. And it's a director in the ministry. Automatically, I expect him to steal the money.
Okay, now can I come in like this? I think from all we have said now, it all portrays to the point that you can't stand something on nothing. I mean, you can't stand something on nothing and accept it. I can't.
There's no foundation.
There's no foundation.
So that's the reason why there is either media trial, as we've seen in most cases.
There's a foundation.
There is no foundation.
The foundation is bureaucracy. It's a system of administration.
But you just told us that bureaucracy doesn't work.
It's flawed. You see, the fact is this: bureaucracy is not flawed.
The thing is this:
is it functioning within the system? You asked the question when we started. How can we checkmate?
Yes.
Bureaucracy. He said it. Everything that's been done, this phone, if I'm giving it to you, must be signed for. Before it can be collected, must be signed for. There's hierarchy. When you get into civil service, you will grow in ranks.
Yeah.
Government pays for your training.
No. What I'm saying, where I'm trying to drive at is, let's flash back in the days when we became a country. when we at independence, they handed over a government. Things we are working. When we talk about First Republic, where people who finish as a president, they don't even have a house. There were standards, there were structures, there were a lot of things that were going on.
So where did that standard
At what point,
go?
that is what we are going to say, at what point did you begin to lose it? Now, to the extent that there is nothing, absolutely, it's an all-commerce game. Anybody can do anything. And like you did mention, leadership recruitment process, how did the civil servants get into that place? How did the president become a president? How did your councillor become a councillor?
But we
That's
voted
why I'm
the
saying,
president.
that's what I'm saying. You can't stand something on nothing.
No, Mr.
And expect to see something.
Mr. Charles,
There is no value.
What I'm saying is this. I understand the fact that we're questioning what I'm saying. We can question
the civil servants.
We can question the process of them becoming. We can question the result of what they are doing. But the system in place cannot be better than what is in place.
Why? Because people are making it that way.
No, what I'm saying is this. What other system would you have introduced into Nigeria to run the civil system? What other system?
What system was left? Because Nigeria didn't.
Nigeria has always been bureaucratic.
So how do we change this system?
Well, I strongly believe that there's a lot to be done in terms of our making sure that people are accountable and transparent in their dealings. And how do you ensure accountability if not try to see how you can reform the laws that guide their operations? Do you understand? Everybody thinks that, okay, we have existing laws that tackles corruption and all of these things. Corruption is not just about stealing money. Corruption is also about stealing opportunities. Do you understand? A lot of people are supposed to be in the civil service. They are not there because some people have perpetuated themselves in that system and they enrich themselves to the point that they can manipulate the system. So this is what happens. When you have people like that in the system, I think personally, if we have a reform in our laws that guide these operations, then we can begin to see this corruption as a bigger
so
issue.
where is the place?
What do you think is wrong with civil service at the moment?
At the moment, this like I said, is endemic corruption. Do you understand? And when I said corruption, I'm not talking about just stealing money.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I mentioned the other one is about stealing
of
opportunities
There
that is
is no
available
system.
to
There is
people.
no system.
Do you
Who
understand?
employs into civil service?
There is no system.
It's
The
a
system of
system.
employment.
There's
It's
a
the
civil
government.
service commission.
Yes, there's a
I
civil
was
service
coming-
commission.
that's why I was
System.
coming to
That
that.
employs.
That's the
Exactly.
system.
That's
The
the
civil
That's the
service
system.
commission is where everybody's supposed to go and submit. When you finish, go and submit and apply. They always post it.
Yes.
And
Now-
there's even something about federal character. There's something federal
Yeah,
character
there should be a
commission
balance.
that ensures there's quota and there's all of that. Does it work today?
The
That's what I'm saying. You can't
federal
put something
I
on
can't-
nothing.
You know, the fact that it doesn't work doesn't mean it's not useful.
But
It
it's
boils
not,
down to what
is the
he's
use?
saying
What is the use of
about
a
our
broom that cannot
corruption.
sweep?
Is it that?
What is the use of a dog that
I
cannot
like
bark?
what you said, that the fact that it doesn't work doesn't mean it's not useful. Someone once said that when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Yes.
So is it that the system is being abused?
That statement is even wrong.
There's no system in the
When
first
purpose
place.
is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Inevitable.
Abuse is abnormal use. That's the meaning of abuse. When you use it abnormally.
Abnormally.
When purpose is not known, you could have used it for the purpose without knowing. You could still use purpose is part of use. If you know the purpose, you could use it for the purpose. I don't know the purpose of this cup, so I can use it as a toilet.
But
I
when-
can still use it as cup.
but what happens when
if
the
I use it
purpose
as
is
cup?
known?
So if purpose is known, abuse is not known. But what I'm saying, when you say purpose is not known, what I'm saying is this: the civil service of Nigeria, as we know right now, I'm not going to score them 100. I'm saying that if we change as a person, civil service changes.
So,
If
but-
we don't support the fact that this person is a level 12 officer,
Yes.
and he is buying a house near your house, and the house is 200 million, it should irritate you. When it irritates you, and the person could be seen as a thief, that is what.
Maybe he got an inheritance.
We all know, we all grew up in the same area. Your father you cannot inherit what your father did not have. What I'm saying, so the fact is, when we look at the civil service as in this, I don't feel laws and the reforms of what you're saying could be what it is. I feel the people themselves have to change. When we change, civil service changes. If you don't change, we will always expect.
Okay, how do we
Which is
change?
why I
Okay.
which
How
is
do we
why I
change?
Okay.
People
said
won't just sleep overnight and wake up and say,
become
I'm a
a
changed
changed
man.
man.
There must be a
system.
deterrent.
There has to be a system. There
There
has
must
to be a
be a
working
system that
system.
creates a
Okay.
Right now,
deterrent.
it's not available.
I think that's part of the take home from today's conversation. The fact that it's not just enough for us to talk about it. It's not just enough for us to complain about it. But but there must be measures put in place to deter civil servants, public servants, elected officials from finding public trust and public treasury so easy to pilfer.
Most of the houses in Wusetu, Metama, Gusape, Asokoro are owned by civil servants.
And that's absurd. That's
Owned by civil
absurd.
servants. This statement was made by the EFCC chairman.
And how do you even get into this?
Now,
civil
if he
service
got
today?
into that statistics and he has done nothing, you see, when we are talking about corruption, and people always think corruption as financial, there are 7 forms of corruption. 7. You even know it. You are in charge of it. You know all these houses are owned by civil servants. What have you done about
No,
it?
but he's announcing his helplessness. He can't help it because there's
Now,
no
then why are you in
system.
that position?
There's
How
no
will
sys-
you
It's
make
about
you
the same
EFCC
system
chairman
that everybody's
and you say you are
protecting
helpless?
themselves.
At this-
They're helping
at
this.
this
Everybody
point,
wants
What
to.
corruption are you not fighting?
No,
At
if he
this-
says it is out.
At this point, I really...
If he fights it, it's out. The system has found a way of fighting back.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. You can't put something on nothing. So everybody will just say, hey, I'm helpless. I
You are
can't do
saying-
anything.
Okay,
Charles,
But
all
he
right.
is still there.
Mr. Charles keeps emphasizing that you can't place something on nothing. And the AFCC chairman has told us who owns all the houses in Mitama, Asukoro.
But he's helpless.
but he's helpless.
Helpless.
But he can, but he can go
really-
after that Yahoo boy.
I really-
that is the son of a nobody.
I
That is the
really
system.
would like to get your take on this conversation. Of course, you know what to do. Follow, like, and most importantly, subscribe. And let's get to here. How do we checkmate the recklessness of not just leaders, not just civil servants, public elected officials, everybody at this point? Because, like I say, the oil touch everybody as far as this matter is concerned. It's black or white. Do stay with us. So, it's about checkmating our leaders, their excessiveness, but most importantly, also checkmating their accomplices, who we've identified to be civil servants. We've established that bureaucracy is part of the civil service. It's supposed to be one of the most beautiful forms of service. But somehow in Nigeria, bureaucracy has gotten some viruses, and it's not working the way it works elsewhere. And so it's time to begin to look at possible solutions. There are suggestions that a civil service reform bill should be in the offering. Since the 9th or 10th assembly coming, we've seen them argue a number of bills. Shouldn't a civil service reform bill be part of the bill we should see on the floor of both the upper and lower legislative chamber? Could this turn around the red tape, the bureaucracy, and the recklessness we've seen? I mean, imagine a ministry over 30-something billion suggested, or let me say how they say it these days, allegedly, missing 3-point-something billion found in the minister's coffers, and the remaining 30-something billion still within the coffers of top civil servants in that ministry. That is worrisome. So,
yeah, can I come in? I'm just
You were
can't
waiting
just
to
wait
jump
for-
on it.
for Look, like the EFCC chairman said, and like I said before, what he actually did was to let Nigerians know there's nothing I can do about it. We are helpless. You mentioned about civil service reforms bill or thereabout. We are not short of bills. We are not short of policies. We are not
We're
short
not short of laws.
We are not short of laws. Wonderful and fantastic. But where is the political will to see it through?
to implement.
Who is going to implement it? Who appointed who is going to implement it? Who is going to checkmate? Who is going to do what? That's like I said, if you can't put something on nothing. And like my former school principal back in the days used to say, error on the headline, immediate failure. If you are given a paper and you're supposed to write mathematics, and on top of it you write English. Once he sees that English, every other thing, if you write fantastic, you've already failed. Now, if we don't get it right from the top, leadership recruitment process.
Yes.
First of all, my solution, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is too powerful. He appoints basically everybody. Remove that power of that superhuman, I can appoint judiciary, I can appoint security, I can appoint everybody. That is from where it starts. If we begin to get that right,
Devolution of
devolution
powers.
of powers.
Wow.
Now, when you get appointed into the his appointment, right? recruited into the civil service, you are given KPI. There are a lot of things you're supposed to do. Who is supposed to checkmate that? Where are the laws checkmating those things? Why are they not
You see,
working? Because somebody somewhere got appointed to do what he has to do, but he cannot because somebody is somewhere pulling the strings for him and he's getting away with every other thing he does. So if you remove that power from whoever is drumming for whoever to do whatever he likes,
So
there will be
basically,
basically
we should remove the place of the puppet master.
remove the place of the appointment and then everything is
I've known Mr. Charles for a while right now, and I think he has a problem with leadership. I don't have.
Is
so
it
much-
that he
I
has
have
a problem with
the
leader,
system.
with the person in leadership,
Not the person.
or the people in leadership,
Not even
and
the-
not
not
the
even
leadership
leadership.
itself?
It's the system.
I think when the system is not
It's the
functioning,
system.
Mr. Charles always wants to just blame it on leadership.
Because they're ones who are
I'm seeing
supposed
a
to.
problem that needs a culture shift, not a leadership shift. And what I'm saying is this. There are two problems in civil service. And almost all the reforms they've done have had those two problems. One is the context of ghost workers, which says they pay salaries to people that don't exist. It's a big problem in civil service. Nigeria borrows money to people who does not exist. And they run all this through the director of finance and everything.
Yeah.
The second is the truant capacity of workers in civil service. You see someone that will tell you, I went to work only 3 times this month and is collecting salary. These people are our neighbors. They are not distant from us. Then when we sit down and say the president is wrong, these people are stealing money from the top, they are doing all these things. I'm telling you one truth. The number of things that go wrong around our neighborhood that we have gotten so used to, that when we remember, this guy works in the Ministry of Aviation, I will complain every day.
Because there are no systems that are checking them.
The system.
There is no system checkmating
What I'm
them.
saying is
you
this.
talk about EFCC. Who appointed the EFCC chairman?
Are
The
you
president.
saying that-
You think he can be bold enough to go against anybody around the president that's doing wrong? He can't
So,
do that.
are you saying that the people that EFCC chairman allegedly said stole these monies, these
Over
civil
30
servants,
something point
are all around the president?
billion.
They
all
might
the people
be.
that are Wuse
You know, we know what happens.
All of
We
them
know
are around
what
the
happens
president. How many people? How many presidents do we have?
whenever there's a regime change, it happens almost. You start seeing this person is fired, and who are they replacing them with? Friends, cronies, people that
Those
are
are
being
not
replaced.
civil servants, sir.
No, but
those
they
are
are
political appointees.
How do you, that's why they
Political
now
appointees.
get
They are
me,
not
how do
civil
you get a
servants.
job into the civil servant? Into the civil service, right?
No, but
Civil
You
service
get a
commission.
letter. Get a letter from your senator. Get a letter from your chairman of local. Who influenced those people to get into those offices?
No, I think
One way or the other is connected.
how many people get recruited into civil service and become
The
directors?
thing how many people even get into the
gentlemen,
civil
gentlemen,
service?
let me ask
genuinely
this
today?
question
How do you get
because
into the
time
civil service?
is not really our friend. Where is the place of the Civil Service Commission? What template are they running to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, especially with regards to, we mentioned it, federal character, and the issue of ensuring that the quota system, as constituted by the law, is strictly adhered to.
Are you asking if they do interview for people before they get into civil service? Is that what you're trying to find out? Or maybe there's some CVs? There's no other.
Interviews
There's no.
in Nigeria.
There's no office that they don't interview people. Civil Service Commission, I'm not sure they do. That's the first thing. So if you are checking meritocracy on employment basis,
Yes.
the civil service is 0 on it.
That is what
But
I'm
the
saying.
Civil Service Commission was created to do that.
So why are they not
Why are
doing
they
it?
not doing it?
Now that's the next. So
That's
the
the
question we
question.
should ask is
Because
not
of the system.
Is not that is it the structure has been put in place that for you to get
So
into
that
you submit-
corrects the notion that we are putting something on nothing.
nothing.
No,
So
something
there is a
exists.
structure.
There's
Something
something on it.
exists.
There's a
Okay.
structure.
There's
There's
a
a structure,
structure.
yes.
Okay.
That is not working.
So if a system is not functioning,
Yes.
It is them is
now what I'm
as good as
saying is
nothing.
this. What I'm saying is this: you keep a group of armed robbers inside the room that has a lot of money, or even though they said there are rules among thieves and stuff like that, honor among thieves, and say all of them should be there, or rather, you put a group of non-prayerful persons inside the room and say all of you will pray for the next 4 hours. They don't know how to pray. It's not as if they don't want to pray. The Nigerian society does not know how to function in that system.
Now, how
let-
does the Nigerian society learn to function?
Let me say something.
Is there an
Who is
orientation?
supposed
Let me say
teach
something. When,
the
when,
Nigerian
when the
society how to
guardians when the guardians of a system becomes the gatekeepers of corruption, then like I said, revolution becomes inevitable. Now, when I talk about revolution, you remember I said something that time that we need to strengthen our laws. Take for instance China. In China, when you're corrupt, you're found guilty, there's a level of penalty that goes with it. In Nigeria, I think we are tackling corruption with kid gloves here in Nigeria. So we need to go to that. If we say our laws are not the problem, let me tell you the challenges EFCC faces in dealing with the corrupt officers. There are lots of technicalities in these laws. There are a lot of loopholes and ambiguity.
In the system.
So when you have that in our law, our legal jurisprudence, you know you have a problem.
Exactly.
Now, if we are
China.
serious, there are some certain things that we should do. Do you understand?
Should we borrow from China?
We can borrow a little from them.
China
We
has
can
a
borrow
very
something.
good economic market that is not in their civil service. You don't even want to work for China civil service. You want to have your own business. You want to
Elsewhere,
work for
I think it's
but
Nigeria
Nigeria,
is where
civil service
everybody
is so
is.
juicy because outside there's nothing functioning there.
And
That's why
so
people are
we
running
must
there.
make it discipline. We
Discipline.
must make it.
Exactly.
We must make it in
That
a
is
way
the
that
issue.
everybody.
You cannot
will
tell
discipline.
me that if I work in civil service, I'm going to make money. If I don't work, I can't get a job. I can't even set up a business. Well, if you're talking of these reforms, what I think you should be talking of right now is this: the quest for entrepreneurship or small and medium scale enterprise should be on the very high scale that it will be stupid of you or not beneficial to someone to be thinking of going into the civil service, because whoever gets a job outside or can set up a business will make more money than you.
Because
stealing,
even the SMEs you are talking about, they've made the system has made it difficult for you to even go into SME.
how have they done that?
They have. Where is
What
the
have
light?
they done?
Where are those things? Where are the enabling
Please,
environments? There's no power. There's no fuel.
this-
It is the
Civil
same
servant-
civil servant that make the enabling environment not
Is it civil
available.
servant
Now,
that-
let me say something.
Is it civil-
Let me
is
say.
it civil servant that take light?
They're the ones that work in PATM.
They don't. It is the
Who-
law that
who's
you have.
responsible for the power?
Yes, yes.
Again,
No,
again,
no,
again,
AEDC,
gentlemen,
it's a
let
private
me-
company.
let me-
What?
They are private
But they are
companies.
working. But are they not
let me
supposed to
play
be doing
devil's
They
something?
are not civil
advocate.
servants.
Let me play devil's advocate. With the statement you gentlemen have made right now, I can already hear the minds of Nigeria say, wait, are these people trying to tell us that it is not the governors, the ministers that are stealing our money, that we should now focus our attention on the civil
The
servants?
civil servants help them. The civil servants facilitate them.
What when you use the word facilitate, you are
Yes.
making it
But
sound as if
That's
the
why I
intention-
call them the
Can
gatekeepers
them.
of corruption.
Exactly.
You know,
In fact, that's
they are
where the
supposed to be the
highest
guardian
level
of the
corruption
system,
go-
but they are the gatekeepers
Give
of
me an
corruption.
example. Give me an example
Because
of how
you-
a civil servant facilitates.
No, because you know why I'm asking
Just give
this
me one
question.
example. One
They
example.
just told you the SCC of
No,
chairman
no,
just
give me
told
another,
you.
not
No,
that
but
one.
gentlemen,
Give me one example.
you know why I
the
asked this
EFCC
question?
chairman said that in a ministry,
Which-
33 billion is missing.
Yes.
Only 3 billion was traced to the minister, and the rest was civil servant.
Yes.
So what else do you need?
How much was
do you
this?
need?
33 billion.
33
They
billion.
saw 3 point something billion in the minister's
minister's
office.
Exactly.
30
Meanwhile,
went
the
round.
remaining they've not seen it.
No, they
No,
said
he said it's
civil service.
civil service.
It
Civil
will be
servant.
round.
So what I'm saying is
It
this.
is with they are founded
From
in
that
the
video,
civil
from
servant.
that video,
Yes.
from that video, it is suggested, not said that it's within the civil servant.
No,
What
where
I'm
is that?
saying
Where
No,
is
it's
it?
not suggested.
Where is
which
it?
It's
ministry,
not suggested.
which ministry
They
did they move
found-
30 something billion naira from, and they are just looking for? I will tell you that money might be best for a project.
But we've been
Part of
told
that project
we
will be
told
done.
you-
Whatever
We've
it is,
we've been told
whatever
that
it
monies
is.
have been swallowed by
snakes and
snakes,
monkeys.
monkeys.
Yes.
In this same civil service in
some
Nigeria.
cases,
It sounds so stupid, right?
Yeah, you know.
What do you think if you see? So I'm telling you something.
Are you
That man-
suggesting that we
that
have
man,
snakes in
the
civil
man
service?
or woman that said snakes swallowed money?
Eh,
Ask family members.
Okay.
Attends a church or a mosque.
Yes.
Ask social units.
Of course.
If all these units see him as an idiot and push him away, nobody will do it. They welcomed him and did
And
thanksgiving
that
with
is
him.
and that is
the
why
problem we have.
I think I
Not-
have a
which
solution.
is the reason why I asked the question I asked, because I'm watching a young Nigerian now watching this conversation, and then looks and says, "Wait, my father is a director in
the civil
ministry."
service
And he
and
now
all that.
goes to the father and say, "Sir, sorry but I just want to ask you one question. Where did you get the money to send my brother to social school in UK? Where did you get money to send,
How much is your salary?
How much is your salary?"
You know, investment is a civil case.
Sorry, can I ask you a
that
question?
will never
Investment-
happen.
Have you gone to the have you been to any ministry?
And that's what
And
we're
tried-
saying.
and
If
tried to-
embezzlement
tried
is a
to
civil case, it's
locate your
ridiculous.
files.
Yes.
Just
It
your
shouldn't
files.
be.
It should be a
And
criminal.
they
It
will
should be a
easily bring
criminal
it for you.
case.
So let me. So
And
in
then
Nigeria,
everybody in this country, for us to move forward, we need, when we say revolution, it's not until we get to the street and start fighting. Revolution should be intentional until you
start from the home.
Yes, you start seeing a law
From the
that
church,
states
from the
that
mosque.
once you have been accused and taken to court for corruption charges, no member of your family will get any appointment or even serve at the public service.
What kind of
Who
law
is
that
going
one?
to enforce that?
So if I
Who will
hate you in my
enforce?
family,
Okay, what about the law? What
If
about
I hate-
no?
if I hate
That
you, I'm
will,
not
that
complete-
will tell a child to tell the father, please don't spoil my future.
what does that? How
The
can-
child
how many
will
children
call
tell
a father to
Okay,
order.
Who will
and say,
gentlemen,
no,
enforce that
don't
law
spoil
you're
my
talking
future.
about?
as we
Who will
wrap,
enforce the
as,
law?
as,
The-
as
that's
we,
the
as we
system
wrap
should-
up,
The system. Somebody
as we
runs
wrap
the
up,
system.
a
Somebody has to do
former
something.
president of this country, when asked about the subject of corruption, he made a very simple statement. He said we should separate corruption from theft. He said,
Stealing.
growing up in Nigeria, when somebody has stolen, we say he's a thief. But that now, somebody steals, they say corruption. Could that be the solution to the fight against corruption?
You see, there's something I want to tell you, and I'm serious about this particular thing. The religious organizations, which are part of the things that are supposed to help us build the culture and the morals that we keep, are not supporting this thing. They are part of the problems that we have. These directors, these civil servants and stuff like that, belong to these churches. Until
And elected officials who come to give testimonies and
how
pay
can
heavy
you
tithe.
say? How can you tell me you bought a generator for church of 15 million and you're an assistant director, and the pastor does not think you should ask you those questions? We need to talk to our religious organizations and houses, the priests and the pastors. Let's call their attention to this. So in Nigeria, we still believe that our religious leaders are part of the people that we can entrust the culture shift into. So we feel the imam should say the right things and the pastor should say the right things. But I tell you one truth right now, 90% of the pastors in Nigeria, if you come with money, either you stole it or not, they're not bothered. And that is why civil servants could be seen as stealing. They are accepted in church, they are accepted at home, they are accepted in this community. Who am I now to now say?
They are given titles. Whatever is bad is bad. You do away with them. Don't try to create this one is this or this one is that. You understand? Like I said before.
Isn't that what China has done?
Yeah,
What is
China,
bad is bad.
because
Immediately
China leads China.
they deal with
China
you.
succeeded
with you.
in creating
South
you
Korea
see,
and the rest of
you
them.
know-
Now you talk about deal with. Who deals with you?
You see,
In Nigeria, we have a legal system.
If you have a legal
We have a
system
legal
that is
system.
corrected,
How-
it's
who
corrected.
will correct
They
it?
criminalize corruption.
Who will
and
criminalize?
not a
Who will
civil
correct?
matter.
Who will correct?
Do you
it?
understand?
As it stands, who will do that?
Mr. Charles, where are you from?
I'm a Nigerian.
No, which state? There's a reason I'm asking the question. What language do you speak? Apart from English.
I speak a Nigerian language.
No, in Yoruba language, for example, I'm trying to think to myself, what is the Yoruba word for embezzlement? And how can we redefine embezzlement and stealing? That's why I'm asking that question. Because if I can't find a word for embezzlement, that means stealing will have been stealing.
Stealing. Exactly.
But when English gives you that word called embezzlement, it
corruption.
means it might not be my fault. A system that I'm trying to function on has created it to be. I give a case. Says this lady that's been accused right now on social media. They brought a victim to the hospital, and I think she's a nurse.
Yes.
And she's expected to attend to the nurse and attend to the patient, and she said, I'm not the one that's supposed to even carry this patient. These are the people that are supposed to carry the patient. Now, the person that brought the patient feels a lot agitated. There was a video that was made, and every name has been called to the woman. Bureaucratic system, in all sincerity. If she attends to that patient, when she's not supposed to be the one, and something happens to that patient,
She'll
be
get
queried.
queried. True. I agree with you.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
That she'll be queried. Mr. Charles, ask me a question right now. That if you go to any civil service office and you want to look for your file, how easy it is for you to get your file? Do you know if you write a letter to any civil service office, they must reply you in 14 days?
A letter in Nigeria.
I'm not asking if now see if they don't
That is,
reply
you are
you.
talking about what's supposed to be.
There's a
Let's
Servicom
talk
desk.
about what
There's a
happened.
Servicom desk.
Servicom, which we
In
There's a
every
Servicom desk.
ministry, in every
There's
MDA,
a-
in every
Have
agency,
you tried any
there's a
of those
Servicom
numbers?
desk
We know-
that I can
we
Can
know-
we
attest.
call any
We
of those
believe it
numbers
does not
now?
work.
Can we call,
We
can
know
we
it does
call
not
it
work.
on set
So
now?
we
can try. We
can
have
call-
any of those Servicom numbers. Let's try. Let's call them and see if it's good. No, but anybody's going to pick your call.
they will pick now.
You see what Charles is trying to say is also in tandem with what you're saying. Now let me dissect it for you. He's saying that these things, who is going to ensure that those things work? You are saying that those things are there, they're supposed to work. He's saying who is going to make them
Who is
work.
making them
Now
work?
the question is that because somebody is not doing their job, everybody is sitting on the fence or doing
And
why is
for
somebody
whatever
not doing
reason.
their job?
Gentlemen.
Because they
And
have
that
the
is why
protection.
we're not moving
But
forward.
gentlemen, you
Now,
see, it goes
the
back
mo-
to the question I asked: Who is government? Because growing up in this nation, anytime you talk about government, the average Nigerian sees a second party, a third party as government, and not him or her. And there seems to be this detachment.
Yes.
At a point in time, public infrastructure, public facilities were easily vandalized. Why? Because the average Nigerian felt in vandalizing that
a government property.
It's a government property. So
not
I am
mine.
doing harm to
To the
government.
government.
Whereas not understanding that he himself is
You're doing harm to
you're
yourself.
doing harm to
No, but
And you're
yourself.
actually
How?
creating a
Is it
bedrock for
possible
corruption.
that there has been a serious lacuna,
The-
vacuum
a huge-
between, in terms of the average Nigerian's understanding of government, who is government, how government functions or should function, and how him or her is a part of that system.
Exactly. When I started my introduction, I told you that the government is the civil servants, and these are the people. They are part of us. We are employed to function with people that we told go and lead us. So until we know that this stadium belongs to us, so if someone is vandalizing the stadium, we should be able to ask questions. Until we know that this theater belongs to us, until we know that this auditorium belongs to us, until we know that this, every structure in the society belongs to us. When we don't know that and we don't protect it, it's because we see government as outside of us. On this channel, I think we've spoken about democracy before. When I told you that the concept of democracy is the people. These people are not. It encompasses everybody. Everybody. A witch
But
that
everybody,
kills
see,
two
when
persons.
everybody is talking, nobody's talking.
A witch that kills two
There is
persons.
always people that speaks that. I mean, there are always people that stand in the front on behalf of others. They stand in the gap on behalf of others. That's where the problem is. Everybody cannot be everybody. Everybody cannot be government. There has to be a director. There has to be a leader. There has to be a cleaner. There has to be somebody representing every other person. What are those people doing? Who is checking who? And how did they even get to be? That is the problem.
No, that
That is where the
is
problem is. How did they
where
even get to
where
be?
I said
Who took that
I
decision
strongly
on behalf
believe
of every other
what you're
person?
saying. But at the same time, I tell you what, we have a legal system. Go and check it. He mentioned it.
Fantastic laws.
No, it's not
everything.
fantastic.
But
It's
why
not
is that legal system
fantastic.
not working?
It is not fantastic, and that's
Because
where these
somebody is
people
making
hide.
sure it doesn't work.
And that's where they hide to perpetrate all those evils.
Okay.
You go to courts now, you can get a bail. You shouldn't get a bail until your case is done.
Got strict bail
And then
conditions.
when it is done, if you are found guilty, 1%, you and your lineage should pay for it.
Ah.
I am
Okay.
telling you.
Oh, okay.
See, let me tell you
Okay.
something. That will deter people. Let me tell you
I-
something.
I
If they
think-
say when you wrong something, they should kill you, cut your head.
I think-
It means that you don't want to do it.
Now,
I
who
think-
is going
Exactly.
to do the cutting?
Deterrent.
Who will do the cutting?
I think
No,
Kule-
no,
do the
no,
Kule-
no,
Kule
those
has
rules
some,
are deterrent.
Chinese DNA in his blood.
They are deterrent.
Going
Nigeria
again.
needs that kind of revolution. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We
All
need
right,
that.
then-
This thing is deep rooted. If we
know-
don't take those stands, we will not
in
get
northern
anywhere.
Nigeria,
You
have
can
Sharia.
sit down and
You have
blame
the
your
Sharia
leader
law that
for
says
all
you
it
can
takes.
cut your
That
hands
means-
off
But
like
until
that.
even your
Wale-
leader
Wale
knows
doesn't
that.
support
That means they
that.
have to do DNA test before they will kill the other generation.
No. What I'm
You
saying
cannot
that
punish the
until
generation
your
for the-
leader, that leader that you think is all powerful, until he leaves the power, and 4 years after they are asking him, "What did you do in so places?" You
They've
are
been
coming
asking
to account
questions, but they've
after
made
4
the-
years.
but
When
they-
he knows the laws are going to work,
This is the problem.
then he will
Before
stop.
they leave-
The others will stop stealing when they are in office.
Let me tell you, because of the system
They
they've
won't
perfected,
stop.
before they leave, they make sure they surround themselves with lackeys that will ensure that they are protected.
Okay. All right.
That
For
is
how
it.
long?
Look,
For
like,
how
man,
long?
this is
For
for
how
as long
long?
as it
Gen-
can
For how
stay.
long? They'll still drag you.
Gentlemen,
We have a lot of leaders being dragged
think
right now.
What's going on right now, I can imagine is already happening in houses and homes over the dining table. Arguments are going on. Everybody's pointing finger at one. But the most important thing is, if we can't build a new Nigeria with a functional, I think that's the word, functional system that ensures that laws that are upheld, anybody found wanting answers, and pays the appropriate price, as it were, maybe this conversation will continue, God knows, for another generation or two. But as usual, send us your views, your comments, And don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And share. Yeah, share. We'd love to get everybody's contribution as far as this conversation is concerned. Once again, gentlemen, it's been an awesome conversation. I've had my hands full trying to hold the horses here, but I can also imagine that's the case with you watching us, and we can't wait to get those reactions after this edition. Okay? Till next time, it's bye from us.